Welcome back, everyone. I'm Lynn Doyle, and this is It's Your Call. We have created a special series in honor of National Women's Month called Focus on Women, and each week we've been talking about issues of major concern to women. This week we're talking about violence and women as victims. We have some frequently asked questions when we put it out there for our viewers, and we're going to hope to give you some suggestions here. I'm the victim of domestic violence. I know it. It's either been physical or emotional. What do I do? Do you call the cops and say, my husband's a big bully? Or do you have to have bruises and, and a broken arm to get any attention?
According to the law, there has to be some kind of physical abuse or threat to physical abuse or sexual abuse, or there has to be stalking, according to the law. So calling 911 is not going to help if it's only emotional abuse. But there are other resources. There are domestic violence hotlines, there are domestic violence websites.
And we've been giving those throughout the show. Exactly. Okay, a second one is, what is a protection from abuse order? Sheena, you mentioned that earlier. What does it actually entail?
Well, many times it will have that particular defendant have to stay away from you. And that would include phone contact, coming to your workplace, coming to your school, and many times even removing that person from the home, even if their name is on the residence, whether it's a lease, on a deed, on the mortgage, and that would be what the police would need to escort this person physically from the property.
What do you have to prove that you need a protection from abuse order?
Well, you go to court and you testify about the abuse that has happened, and sometimes one party goes to court, says there's been abuse, and the other party gets on the stand and says there hasn't, and the judge makes a call on the facts.
And then you would also have police reports, and potentially witnesses would have to come, and they would be subpoenaed.
So that's
to
where creating
testify.
the log that you referred to earlier would come in handy. I have a protection from abuse order, and it's been violated. Do I have any options?
Well, every time there's a violation of the PFA, you should do a police report.
Okay, back to the police. I received a stay-away order in court. Is that the same thing as a protection from abuse?
No, it's not. A stay-away order is usually for a year or less, or actually it will be in place for the duration of a hearing or a trial. And the additional difference is that a PFA is recorded and the state police and the local police have access to it, versus a stay-away order, that is not the case.
Okay, Mindy, here's one I know that you've probably heard in your many years as an attorney. I'm the victim in a domestic violence case, but now I've changed my mind. I want to drop the charges. Can I?
No, then once you've made the report and it's in the hands of the state or the Commonwealth, then it becomes their case and you're a witness in their case. But you always hear that. That's very, very common, that they've changed their mind. The abuser has talked them out of it.
And that is one thing that we should point out, that happens very frequently, that even if women recognize that they are victims of abuse, that they many times return to the scene of the crime, so to speak, because, as you said at the beginning of the relationship, the man's such a charmer, he can put that charm back on whenever.
Absolutely.
Okay, what piece of advice would you want ladies to leave this show with if they've been watching?
I would say, if you have someone in your life that is being abused, go and talk to them. Talk to them, tell them that you are concerned, that you love them, that there is no excuse for that behavior, and whatever they need, you are right there for them.
Okay, and Sheena, I know particularly with young women, and I'm talking about teenagers, that we're seeing more and more abuse with them as well. What do you say to them so that they, if they're in a relationship, they get out of it?
This is an acceptable behavior. And again, you have a bright future ahead of you, and this person who's attempting to bring you down, they're not loving you. That's not love. They have nothing other than a sense of wanting to control you. And we also have to remember, it's not just male and female. It can be same-sex abusive cases as well.
Absolutely, except on this particular series, we were focusing on women. And finally, Mindy, if someone is getting out of a bad relationship, and it doesn't have to be an abusive one, what's the best piece of advice for them to get what they deserve from the marriage or the relationship?
Get control of your finances. Know what's there. Look at those statements. Get your log information. So when women often come to me and ask me if they're going to be adequately protected, they need to know what their financial information is so that they can make decisions and be educated and make choices for themselves.
The one thing I have heard from all three of you is that knowledge is power, and that women need to empower themselves. So I thank you so much for sharing all of this very valuable information. Thank you. I really appreciate it. And thank you all for joining us. Be sure to join us next week when we talk about women and health. Often we're the caretakers, but we forget to take care of ourselves, so we'll have some advice for that. And if you do need help, email us at lynn@lynndoyle.net. We'll help you out.